Hello there. It's November 29th, 2022. My name is Joe Weston, and we're here for our weekly online global practice for reviving the global heart. For those of you who come on a regular basis, you'll notice as you're tracking my world travels throughout the last 4 or 5 months or so. And as you can tell, I'm obviously in a country where it's now evening time. I'm in the Netherlands, and I'm happy to be here. This is my spiritual home, and where people that I would call family, even though they're not my biological family, when I would say family lives. I just arrived this morning, so if I get a little foggy from the jet lag, please forgive. This practice will be helpful. And I'm really pleased to be with you all. And as always, those of you who come on a regular basis, those of you who come drop in once in a while, those of you who come for the first time, it's always such a joy to connect with you. And as I say, to feel your presence and to feel your heart and to prove that it's really possible that even through the internet, even through what I call the World Wide Web, that it's still possible to radiate from your heart. It's still possible simply with presence and connection to influence one another, to inspire one another. And that even with a flat screen, we can feel that multidimensionality of us and how we engage, and the importance of that, particularly at this day and age, to build relationship. And there you have Joe Gamble. Great to see you. It's been a long time. Very nice to have you join us.
Thank you.
I want to talk a little bit about that today. I was thinking about that, about friendship, about relationships and friendships. And I don't boast about a lot of things. I try not to, at least not in public. But one thing I do boast about is that I feel one of my superpowers is I gather remarkable people around me. And I'm so pleased with that. Aside from the fact that for me it's entertaining and it's inspiring and it is interesting. And I actually remember hosting a party here in the Netherlands, probably a birthday party, and there was someone who I didn't know that well who was there. And he said, Joe, everyone is like you. And I was like, well, what is that? It looked like you. And I don't think that's really what he meant, but the conclusion is that everyone had such a big heart and resonated with such heart energy and generosity and presence and connection. And I'm very proud of that, the people that I have gathered. And I'm very proud of the relationships I've cultivated. And I want to talk a bit about that, I think I've said this before, and one of the important things that I emphasize in the Fierce Civility book, which is coming out, it's coming out in January, woohoo, what if the most revolutionary thing we can do right now is to have a daily practice of aligning with our highest values and connecting with our humanity and overcoming burnout and remaining physically vital, emotionally stable, mentally clear, and spiritually grounded. That was our commitment. And with that we put time and energy in deepening and cultivating the relationships we have. Because the world system is doing a really good job of keeping us distracted and isolated and disconnected and focused on various things, and certainly keeping us, I speak for myself and almost everyone I know and what I'm observing, the world system keeps us in a dysregulated state. So that we can it's harder to access our hearts. It's harder to access our higher reasoning. It's harder to access our wisdom and our gifts and our talents. And so that's why I put it in that context. What if the most revolutionary thing we can do is cultivate within ourselves a deeper level of inner balance, connecting with our humanity, and investing time and energy in cultivating our relationships. And there's almost an urgency in that. It's not just, oh, that would be nice, but I believe that is truly the thing that could transform our global culture, that could help facilitate that each one of us in our own way can take those steps to what I've been saying since I've started this event, this gathering, more than 3-4 years ago. I don't even know. It's a long time. That what we are doing here is we're training ourselves to be midwives for a system that's dying away. So midwives for the dying, and midwives for a system that has been birthed and has already taken root and is now emerging, and that we hold space for that. So as we're doing that, so each one of us taking our responsibility and making sure we're clear, we're vital, and that in the process of deepening relationships, we're creating more circuits. More is what we're doing here, weaving a golden thread of lasting peace around the world. And I just want to say that I've tracked that throughout my life. I devote a lot of time and attention to the cultivation of my relationships. I have one of my dearest friends who has been a guest here, Dr. Darlene Eiffel Taylor. I met her when I was 14 years old. I was in high school. We were both in high school. And we are dearest of friends. And that's a lot of years. I don't need to do the math, but or the specific math, but to just give you an idea, it's a long time. And I even still have a close relationship. They've been on some of these events as well with people I went to elementary school with, and people around the world in various countries. And particularly here in the Netherlands, that these are relationships that are now some of them over 30 years old. And I'm grateful for that. I'm enormously grateful for that. And I'm grateful for the time and energy I put into that. You know, because I bring that up because a lot of people put emphasis on primary partner or partners as a way of saying that that's how I cultivate relationship, or family. And those are great. And I don't hear a lot of people talking about the cultivation of friendships. And, you know, family members can be friends, partners can be friends, and can all, you know, go in different directions. But I offer that to you to consider it at this time. What would it be to maybe make it a resolution for 2023 to say, I want to do an inventory. You know, how are my relationships? Am I in what relationships am I in this moment not in right relationship? Where am I out of alignment? Where is there rupture? Where are there wounds? And how can I spend some time to maybe work through those to get back into right relationship? What relationships do you have where if you, I offer this to my coaching clients, especially for people who feel depleted and are generally wired to be caregivers and peacemakers and the ones who take care of others, is to do an inventory of your relationships from the perspective of being nurturing or being nurtured. And that you might find in that inventory with your relationships that there are people, and I use like a percentage system. You notice I use that a lot. So from 0% to 100%. So for instance, you might have someone in your life where 100% of the relationship is you taking care of them. And it's not good or bad. And there doesn't have to be any guilt or resentment or shame. It can simply be, it's just simply objectively noticing, okay, so in this relationship, I'm doing all the caregiving, I'm doing all the nurturing. To just look at it from a perspective of just like if you had a bank account and savings, is it a good use of your resources in a sense? And it might be a relationship where you have no choice, where you're the caregiver but what's beneficial about that to recognize, okay, I'm in a relationship where I'm doing all the giving and I don't get any nurturing back. At least you don't have to worry anymore about expecting more than you're going to get. That at least you can maybe let go of that, the anger and the resentment, and just accept that that's the relationship. And you might have relationships where you are not giving it all and the other is doing all the nurturing. That's a sweet relationship in a sense of where you can know that you can rely on them to get tanked up, to get more energized. And then you can play with that with other relationships. Maybe it's, and I would say on some level, although a balanced relationship would be one where it's around 50-50. And it can fluctuate, right? There can be, maybe it's someone you say, we're really at 50-50, this is good. But of course, you might be going through a rough time. And then suddenly it's now 20-80 with you 20% giving and 80% receiving. But that's, for me, that's a helpful way sometimes to just clarify. And if you are noticing that you have a lot of relationships where you're doing all the nurturing, then that's a perfect opportunity to use your respectful confrontation skills to set boundaries, to clarify your no when it's no exclamation point, like I can't do that, or no, I'm willing to consider doing it if we can modify what it is the request is. Or having some difficult conversations where maybe that person isn't even aware of it, and it's just a habit that you both have gotten into. But I offer that as a way of thinking about how, and that contributes then to that sense of how can you stay vital, energized, and in this practice of resilience. And specifically, as we're training ourselves to be nurturers and protectors for a global system and for all beings, and certainly for all human beings, we need our energy resources. That's why at the end of the practice, we always fill our batteries, right, on our core, to make sure that we have enough resources and energy to make it through that day and what we're doing. So I want to offer that maybe in the next few weeks, to just do that inventory, do a celebration of your relationships. Let those people, your friendships particularly, let them know how much they mean to you. Let them know, that they matter, and that they're seen, and that they're appreciated for who they are in your life. So I'm going to leave it at that. Let's do our practice, take that into our practice. As always, what we're doing here is we're practicing together as a community, a global community, to cultivate within ourselves a deeper level of resilience and fierce compassion. The effortless compassion in action of just from your heart being able to support others in your words, your thoughts, and your actions. Without it even in the sense, in a way that's effortless, and to be able to maintain that level of resilience so that you do that with grace and with almost effortlessness, instead of enduring and suffering and working too hard. So sitting in a posture, what we call power sit, where you lengthen your spine without being rigid, allowing space to flow through the vertebrae, using this posture to embody what we're cultivating here: presence, awareness, balance, and flow. Elongating from the back of your neck, so you tuck your chin in a little bit, relax your jaw, relax your shoulders, relax your belly. Power sit. With this posture, bringing your attention to a spot in your lower belly, the width of 3 fingers below your navel and 1/3 of the way into the body, from the front of the body. Your center of gravity, impulse, gut wisdom, personal power, awareness. Using this practice to cultivate a deeper relationship with your core, thus a deeper relationship with that part of you that perceives reality, that doesn't think reality, doesn't feel reality, but perceives reality. And from that part of you, from your core, become aware of your contact points, the parts of your body that are connecting with what you're sitting on and the ground. Using those contact points to gather information about the stability of what is under you. And the more you can tap into and feel that stability, the more likely you can relax into being held. Let yourself be held. Using the chair or the cushion and the floor as a representation of Mother Earth herself, as you bring your awareness down to the surface of the earth. Feeling that unwavering support from Mother Earth in all times. You are held. What is your relationship actually with Mother Earth, with the ground? Are you in right relationship with it? Part of your inventory. From your center, become aware of your physical body, has become more in connection with this present moment, first beginning with the self. What information does your physical body have for you in this moment? What's your relationship with your physical body? Do you take it for granted? Is it an equal exchange? You caring for the body caring for you? If I were to ask the body the same question, would they have the same answer? From your center, become aware of your emotional body. Gathering the information of what emotions you're present to in this moment. Remember, in this practice of balance and flow, if you're feeling emotions begin to rise, if you're feeling energy begin to rise, allow them to flow. From your center, become aware of your thoughts, quality of your thoughts. Maintaining a connection with your core, now bring your awareness to your heart center in the middle of your chest, where your heart power resides. Connection, empathy, respect, kindness. And from your center and from your heart, become aware of that part of you which has connection to something larger than yourself. So tapping into that part of you, which always, perhaps always has access to something larger than yourself. And from that part of you, from your heart and your center, become aware of your connection in this moment to something larger than yourself. For whatever that means for you, something spiritual, the universe, humanity, love, the matrix. And checking your inventory of what is your relationship between you and that which is larger than yourself. And as you remain connected with yourself, with that which is larger than yourself, with Mother Earth, now allow that awareness to flow out towards your personal boundaries, filling your personal space with this awareness from your heart, from your core, in all directions. Full extension of who you are. And with this awareness from your center and from your heart, take a full breath in. Building from this awareness from your center and from your heart, become aware of your surroundings. In this moment, what is your relationship with your surroundings? In all directions. Smells, sounds, temperature. With this awareness of self and surroundings from your center and from your heart, take a full breath in. And from your center and from your heart, become aware of those in this meditation circle. The two-leggeds, the four-leggeds, people in various parts of North America, Europe, perhaps those who aren't on the call with us, who might be with us in their hearts around the world. Noticing the impact of you as you connect with them from your heart and your center, considering how you might be influencing them and how they might be influencing you. Considering your relationship with these very people and with this group as a whole. How much nurturing do you do in this community, in this group? How much are you nurtured? What arises for you? And with this awareness of self, surroundings, and those in this meditation circle, from your center and from your heart, take a full breath in. And with this awareness from your center and from your heart, become aware of all human beings, beginning with those human beings you would label loved ones. And who arises in your heart? What faces do you see? Groups of people. How many can you hold in your heart at this moment of loved ones? Does that influence you in any way, physically, emotionally, mentally? Considering your relationship with these people, in what ways can you say that you are in right relationship? In what ways have these people been a source of joy for you, a source of frustration? From your heart radiating out the deepest of gratitude. And watch them receive it as they flow that same level of energy from their heart back to you. And from your center and from your heart, become aware of those human beings you would label stranger. Who arises in your heart? What faces do you see? Groups of people. How many can you hold in your heart at this moment of the almost 8 billion of them? Being curious why these particular people show up for you at this time. Could be a neighbor, someone you saw at a supermarket, on the news. Considering your relationship with them, in what ways has there maybe been harm in thoughts, if not in actions, maybe in thoughts or words, or lack of words or thoughts? From your heart radiating that level of appreciation, considering that these are future friends. These could be future friends. And from your center and from your heart, become aware of those human beings you would label adversary. And who arises in your heart? What faces do you see? Groups of people. How many are showing up? Does that influence your physical state of being, your emotional state of being, your mental state of being, your level of safety? How might you be influencing them in this moment? And considering the idea that in some level there you might be in relationship with them. What kind of relationship is that? Could there possibly be anybody in your adversary list that there could be healing and reconciliation, coming back to right relationship? That even though they may not become a loved one, they could maybe just not be an adversary anymore, just a stranger. Notice just that thought process, how it influences how you are engaging with them. How it's impacting them. And as you hold all human beings in your heart, imagine each and every human being waking up one morning and saying, wow, understanding the importance of cultivating caring, loving relationships. And get excited by the prospect of that. And with that awareness from your center and from your heart, take a full breath in. Now allow all human beings to flow into your heart as you bring your awareness back to those in this meditation circle. Notice if this practice up to this point has influenced your relationship with those in this meditation circle. With gratitude, allow those in this meditation circle to flow into your heart as you bring your awareness back to your surroundings, anchoring this practice into your day-to-day, moment-to-moment. Gratitude for your surroundings. Allow the surroundings to flow into your heart as you bring your awareness back to yourself. And take a moment to consider, do the inventory of what your relationship is with yourself. Are there aspects in your relationship with yourself that could use some repair? Heal some ruptures? How can you cultivate a daily practice of staying in and getting into right relationship with yourself? And with the deepest of gratitude and appreciation for yourself, allow that all to flow into your system, noticing the benefits of this practice, the energy you've generated. Allow that energy to flow into every cell of your body, igniting and sparking every cell of your body. Flowing into your organs to heal your organs, nurture, revitalize, restore. Flowing into your nervous system, this practice as a way to remember this, muscle memory, to walk this into the world. And lastly, allowing the energy of this practice to flow into your core like a battery, charging your battery, knowing that when your battery is fully charged, you have the capacity and the fortitude to seek out nurturing for yourself, for others, in all ways. As a way to close this practice, let's take one final breath. When you're ready, slowly open your eyes, look around the room. Shake your body, stretch your body. So as always, we started with a motivation. We did our practice. Now we have time to reflect. Anybody want to share based on maybe reflections on what I spoke about or what came up in the practice or just what's happening in your life? Especially we haven't seen you in about 400 years.
I'll jump in. It has been almost 400. Well, it seems that way. But it's good to see you, Joe, and everyone.
That's great to see.
Yeah. So I was reflecting on what you talked about relationships and the broader definition or the large definition of relationships. And I feel really, really good. There's only one that persists being a challenging one in my life. The others, I'm pretty happy that I'm not in conflict that I can think of, that I'm aware of with any. And so it's a blessing. It really is a blessing. So I started to make notes of those. I appreciated that. And then through the meditation, I realized how just relaxed I get when you talk, Joe. That hasn't changed.
Like that. I should see if I can relax myself when I talk. So see, talk to myself in my head. Good to have you. Anyone else?
I found that this was really powerful for me. I am in slight conflict with a few people, but the conflict is within myself. They don't necessarily know that I'm in conflict with them, so I have to work that out. Yeah. And relationships come and go, but the one that's constant is the one I have with myself.
Yeah. All the thoughts that went through my head when you said that, and all the snarky remarks I could have made, but I didn't. Not about you, but about yeah. And that's why, if you notice with a lot of the, for those of you who know the work I do, it always starts with the self. It starts, and this practice starts and ends with the self. And there's many reasons for that, and there are probably some very deep cosmic reasons that I'm not even aware of. But I think one reason why I think it's important is because, and I've been saying this for a few years now, is that with so much uncertainty in the world, where we feel like as individuals we don't have a lot of power to affect change, in a sense, that the best thing to do is start with where you currently do have power, and that's with yourself. That's the starting point.
Hey everyone, I'll share quickly. I've been going through a bit of a family time with the passing of my father earlier this month. And it's interesting to find people in adversarial relationship with me when I am not even thinking about being in adversarial relationship with them. I'm focused on what I need to do and the business at hand, and people are having all kinds of thoughts and feelings about me and about what I'm doing or what I'm not doing. So it's interesting when we get to the, when we get to the part of the meditation that's about, think of your adversaries. I'm not holding anyone adversarially internally, but I think, at least not intentionally, but I think actually there's a degree to which I am holding them adversarially unintentionally, because I actually I don't care to help them feel better or think differently about who I am. I just allow, they can just think whatever they want, and I'm not going to engage in the drama of that. And that in and of itself creates adversarial relationship. So it is interesting, just being a human, even when you're not trying to be someone's adversary, we humans figure it out, man. We figure out how to have adversarial relationships one way or another. So this practice is very, sometimes just you just have to breathe through that reality.
Yeah. Thank you, Golden. I appreciate that. And I say that, and I try to share this with people in certain, in advocacy groups like that. Is if you're a human being, we're going to harm each other. I think there might be very few people on this planet who don't harm people. We're always going to harm each other. The question isn't that we stop not that we no longer harm each other. The practice is to notice as quickly that you've harmed someone, or do your best to not harm someone. And then if you notice you have, then as quickly as possible, get back to right relationship. That's the best we can do. And because simply, as Golden, you're saying, as a simply just being can spin someone into their own adversarial state of being.
Yeah. It's a good point. Just, I also really appreciate the comment earlier that the relationship I'm most responsible for is the one with myself. So even if someone is spun up about me and I'm not spun up about them, just doing my very best not to get spun up about any of it.
Words of wisdom. Thank you.
I'll share quickly. I had a very physical response today, but it was aligned to something you said earlier, Joe. I took a spill from a pony, and my hips, like I landed on my hip. I thought I broke my hip, and so that's been weeks ago, but they're still really sore. And I realized that I'm at like 80%, 20%, 70, 30. Like one is overcompensating for the other, and the other is like, it needs the other. But I realized, like, in my own body, how I'm stuck physically there, and that lack of balance. And you moved from the physical body to the emotional body. And I was like, I've been so focused on the physical, I haven't even let myself visit with the emotional, spiritual body very much. I don't know, like hierarchy of needs stuff probably, but it was really, in the moment, it was profound, and it made the analogy come to life for me.
Not to make light of Silas's situation, but Silas, when you started talking, I thought you were going to talk about being in an adversarial relationship with the pony, because I've been thrown off a horse before, and I had to process that, like I really did.
Oh, how funny. For a while, I didn't call him by his name. I just called him the pony. And I also think I called him that to all of you. Solo is his name.
And I know how much you love your ponies. So, yeah. Wow. Yeah, you might want to see a physical therapist or something, just to make sure you're walking in a correct way, so you don't create those habits.
Right.
Get some body work. Yeah.
So, Joe, I was thinking too of the 90-10, 80-20 in a totally different way this morning. I don't know why, but our niece, Molly, popped into my mind, and I went to her Facebook and I saw all these amazing accomplishments she's made. She's 34 now. She was one of a set of twins, and her mother didn't know she was having twins. She wouldn't have known, because unless she was what she was in her career, a NICU nurse. So she had a sonogram done very early on, and she found that Emily and Molly were what they call diminished. One was a diminishing twin. And so the mother was bed bound for almost all of her pregnancy. And her balance as a mother that she had to find was, how much could the non-diminishing twin thrive and grow? And Molly, the diminishing twin, to get that balance where both could be born.
Wow.
And so Molly now is all of 4 foot 2 inches high. And you would think, oh, poor Molly, she's going to be, have this disability or whatever you want to call it the rest of her life. She is now living in LA. She is she has her own stunt company, and she plays the role of children. She was in Avatar, she was in Star Wars, she's best friends with James Cameron. And to think about that balance that her mother found, to have her be walking the earth as a Hollywood starlet, in the stunt industry, is really fascinating. And we're very proud of her. And I just tell that story because that's where my thoughts went when you talked about balance.
What a beautiful story. Wow. That's a story of resilience.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Mother and daughter
Yeah.
and love. Yeah. Nurturance.
Yeah.
Molly. She's Molly. Molly is the
Molly Miller Stunts. You can look her up.
love it. Love it. Maybe she's good on ponies, Silas. Maybe she can give you some tips. All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you all. Was there anything else? Anybody else want to share?
I'd like to acknowledge Golden's father's death. I don't know. It's so recent. I want to send loving kindness to you and your family.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Great. Well, it's great to see you. And as always, keep coming back, tell people about this. I was thinking of putting, if you were feeling generous, to offer make a donation for this, for the Fierce Civility project for the book. I don't really have the link right now, but I'll make sure to do that next time. But if you would like to make a donation, maybe just send an email and we'll figure out how to do that, because we're in the process of redoing our website, so I'm not sure what's live or what's not. But if you're feeling in the holiday spirit and generous, we could certainly use some more resources for getting this book out. We're in the final edits and we're planning on going into production of the book in the next week or two. So yeah, things are moving. Things are moving. So it's exciting. Some of you have been there from the beginning. So that's over 3 years ago. So I'm really grateful for that. All right. So we've done our motivation. We did our practice. We had a chance to reflect. Let's dedicate the energies that may in this time of year, which can bring up a lot in terms of the holiday seasons, in terms of that each and every person finds a way within themselves to feel nurtured physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually in such good and easeful ways. And that people remember that if they're feeling alone, that they find ways of connecting and staying into that connection. And may all beings on this planet have enough fresh water to drink and food to eat. And may all governments and world leaders govern from a place of generosity and compassion, as opposed to fear and greed. Okay, all.
Thank you,
Good to
Joe.
see you. Have a
Thank you,
wonderful
Joe.
week. Joe,
Thanks,
let's
everyone. Bye-bye.
let's make a plan. Yeah.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
All right. Take care, everyone.